All right, so we're here today and we have a special guest on Eager News. We have Miss Lisa Levasseur. She runs and oversees our Office of Family and Community Engagement. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Zanthi.
Awesome. So glad that you could join us today. Ms. Levasseur, she has a wealth of information when it comes to helping parents through this transition of distance learning. So we're going to ask her a few questions, and she has some wonderful things to say, very positive things to say, and some good advice as well when it comes to working with your student at home. So let's talk about helping parents with this transition to distance learning. So to start off, how does distance learning change in terms of what was happening with just a month ago? What's the big change now?
So I think the big change for students and parents is a month ago we were sitting in classrooms, right? We were at school sites and physically in a classroom. And now we're transitioning to distance learning and online learning. And so, we still have the same teachers, the same wonderful teachers. You're still enrolled in the same school. It's just now you're going to be learning, at home and maybe through, a Chromebook or a laptop.
Okay, all right, very good. Um, so in order to do this, what do parents need to prepare for at home? Do they have to provide a quiet space, a desk, a computer, laptop, and plus the internet? I mean, what if they don't have all of those things?
So I think it's important as parents to normalize this experience as much as possible. I know this is not normal, but I think if we could provide our children a comfortable place, a consistent place, so every day they know they're going to go sit at the kitchen table, or they're going to go sit at their desk in their bedroom, a place that's possibly quiet so that they can focus and they can study without being interrupted and have materials nearby if they need it. Um, Most of our families, first grade and above, we're going to be working through some distance learning through online platforms. And so it's important to have access to a computer or a laptop, an iPad or a Chromebook. And, Zanthi, just yesterday, we started passing out Chromebooks at various high schools in our district. I know you were out there. I participated yesterday, and it was really easy to just
Right.
come through and pick up your Chromebook.
Right, and they're continuing that on too today and next week, the 7th, 8th, and 9th for elementary school specifically. So excellent. So sounds like creating a kind of a normal environment to learning every day, but through at home and through a Chromebook and through an online platform is something that's important for parents to help with. And also, like you were saying, that consistency, finding
Hmm.
consistency in the situation every day, and that doesn't have to be the perfect setting. It
Yeah.
just needs to be a quiet space, hardly any interruptions, so that
Hmm.
the student can focus. Okay, so excellent. Um, Another question for you. So, what should parents be doing then now while we're waiting for everything to come online? What could they be doing to help prepare their students for distance learning?
I think over the next 2 weeks, it's really important to try to be consistent. So, for example, create a schedule. I have two school-age children myself, and if they had their way, they would sleep until noon every day. But I think that's not how it is, right? When we normally go to a physical school building. So, creating some consistency around getting up around the same time in the morning, having a healthy breakfast, getting dressed, like you're going to school. I think those are all important. I also think it's important if your child is going to be using a Chromebook or a laptop, whatever device they're going to be using for distance learning, to become familiar with it,
Okay.
right? Understand how it works. We're going to be using, most of our teachers are going to be taking advantage of Google Classroom.
Uh-huh.
So there's lots of resources out there to understand what Google Classroom is and how it works. Most principals have, suggested that it's really great to just start to familiarize yourself with that. So when we officially start, we'll be comfortable with this as much as we can be with this process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was even looking online the other day to familiarize myself with Google Classroom.
Mhm.
There's a ton of resources. Google themselves have resources as well. And I know your department is also preparing some really important, critical things for parents to focus on when it comes to using Google Classroom. So, and we can't wait to share that out as well. And I think we'll have things ready for parents hopefully today
Yeah.
on that is in addition. So
Yeah,
that's
that's coming soon, so stay tuned.
very good, very good. All
Mhm.
right. So a couple more questions.
Yeah.
Are it's creating that consistency, making sure students kind of have a schedule and sense of normalcy at home is important. Now, here's the
Mhm.
big question when it comes to learning. Are parents responsible for making sure their students finish all of their assignments, or is that too overbearing?
It's a good question. I think it's important for parents to stay in contact with their children throughout the day, to do regular check-ins, to provide support. I also think it's important for parents to understand that it's okay if you see your child struggle a little bit. It's equally important to let them work through the issue on their own. It's really good for their growth and their brain development. It's all a part of the learning process that we're all going through. But I
Mhm.
think, equally important to be there for your child, to stay positive, to ask questions, but to not be demanding, try to
Mhm.
lower expectations a little bit right now as we're all learning this new process.
Mhm.
The other thing I want to add is I think it's important to take a break every now and then. Being in front of a screen and learning is important, but our eyes need the rest. It's really important to get that physical activity in every day.
Right.
So take 30 minutes and go for a walk or do some yoga in the house, or, have an unstructured fun dance party. That's how I do my stress relief in our house. And my kids are probably killing me right now for saying that, but it's true.
Very good, very good. So we've got consistency, a quiet place to study, familiarize with both the program, the platform, as well as the device, and let students struggle a little bit when it comes to their learning. It's through that struggle that they actually learn. Um, and but that brings us then to kind of our last question. Um, Beyond academics, when it comes to given this change of environment from the coming from the going to school in a campus to coming home, should parents be on the lookout for anxiety and or social and emotional distress?
Absolutely. I think even us adults, right, are maybe feeling anxious at times, or stressed by this new normal. And so if we're feeling it, then of course our children are feeling it. And so I think it's really important to check in with them on a
Mhm.
regular basis. Stay positive. We're all human beings, right? And so we all make mistakes. And I think understanding that and being flexible and encouraging is important for our children to hear, for our children to see. I think it's important for them to see how we handle the stress and how we take deep breaths and work through it. Um, I also just, I want to share that I was thinking about this the other day, that, working full time, being a parent full time, and being a teacher full time, those are
Right.
three different jobs. And so that can be stressful. And I've never met anyone in my lifetime who's perfected doing all three at one time.
Yeah.
So it's important that if you're feeling stressed, that you reach out, that you virtually reach out and socially connect, virtually through, with others. It's important to know that, we're not alone. You're not alone in this.
Mhm.
We're all trying to figure out this new normal and work together. And it's good for our mental state and our physical state to stay connected in that way. So reach out to your neighbor, reach out to your teachers. We said earlier, we have wonderful teachers who love our students. And if you're struggling with an idea or concept, just email and reach out and connect.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So, today we've had an opportunity to speak with Miss Lisa Levasseur. Thank you so much for coming on and
Mhm.
joining us today. And she has offered a wealth of information when it comes to preparing for this transition to distance learning. She's talked about creating a sense of normalcy, having a consistent plan at home. When it comes to learning, having a quiet space, at least at home, for students so that they can focus. And she's also talked about the fact that there's lots of resources for parents out there to get to know Google Classroom, to get to know how to use the device that the student's using. And more importantly, she's also talked about the need for parents to offer support for their student, give them encourage them. We're all going through a learning process. And if we can help our students by just encouraging them, supporting them, they're going to learn 10 times as fast as as if they didn't have that support there. So I want to thank Lisa again for coming. And did you have anything last that you wanted to add?
One last thing. In Zanthi, in your daily communication, you refer to a family resource webpage that's been created, and I highly encourage any mom, dad, grandma, aunt, and uncle out there to go to that page. We have social emotional resources there. We have community resources there, and then we just have some fun activities, enrichment activities that you can click on and do with your kids at home. So please take advantage of that page. Well, it's there for all of you.
Awesome. And I'm so glad you mentioned grandmas and aunts and uncles, because I know when I was raising my kids, I relied heavily on my own parents. So my children would oftentimes spend time with their grandparents. I know, given the situation we're in right now, that's not necessarily the best scenario in terms of the elderly population, but we do know that there's a lot of people in the household who can help. They can help each other out. So with that, well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa. And
Absolutely.
we look forward to talking to you again in the future.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.